from our perspective, this is our second year, at SIBOS, and what we have seen is, with our partnership with Swift, able to bring, innovation. We're able to bring in a seamless position around how bank accounts can collaborate with and interop with wallets. This is pretty much what our partnership with Swift is all about, and over the last 8 months, we've been able to bring that value proposition to banks using the Swift network and bringing mobile wallets on the forefront of how wallets and bank accounts can interoperate. This kind of goes back to what I started saying about the Swift partnership. So, if you look at the G20 goals and how Swift is trying to focus on the G20 goals related to financial inclusion, looking at speed of transaction and reducing the cost. What we were able to do with these three elements is to bring in, with our expansive position of bringing in 3.75 billion bank wallets, to bring those into what we call it as the Swift ecosystem itself. So that was one. Historically, what we have seen is, the TerraPay infrastructure is built for digital, is built for instant, and is built for bringing the cost of the transaction, lower. That again goes back to the G20 goals. And the third and the most important one was to see how all these transactions can be made, compliant from a regulatory standpoint. So, if we bring the G20, objectives and what the TerraPay Swift partnership is bringing and marrying those together for interoperability between wallet and bank accounts, bringing the cost of the transaction, making everything digital, but more importantly, bringing in financial inclusion as part of the ecosystem. That, I think so, is the key pillar of the TerraPay Swift partnership. So, as we started TerraPay in 2015, the idea was to bring wallets on the forefront, make them interoperate, and more importantly, see how world from a digital assets perspective, focuses on consumers which have wallets as their predominant mode of payment, and how do you bring those instruments on the forefront of money movement. So what we were able to do over the last 10 years is build this robust infrastructure of around 151 countries, across 70 currencies which we operate, 7.5 billion bank accounts, and to your point about the 3.7 billion bank wallets, what this brings in is probably a world's biggest, if not one of the biggest, infrastructures for wallet and wallet money movement. And this, goes back to our position in terms of how banks, cards, and wallets could interoperate in the future. So one of the things when we build the company, we took it for granted. Is every transaction has to be instant. Every transaction has to have a definite price attached to it. In a sense, like a consumer should know what the recipient is going to receive. And the third and the most important thing was the money has to be delivered to the recipient, and there has to be a confirmation of the of the money. We built this platform in 2015 with that concept. In today, people call it verification of payee. We built this in 2015, and the platform is built and designed for that concept. So what we did late last year is to actually deconstruct our platform itself and create a microservices which is called verification of payee. And what this verification of payee service does is the ability for FIs, banks and money transfer companies to actually focus on a position where every transaction which we deliver can be verified before the transaction is actually sent. So think about it, a position where you do for every bank account or every mobile wallet, you would know if the money can be delivered to the right recipient, and then you build that as a service, and then you once the confirmation comes in, you build in the money movement capability on top of it. That is pretty much what we see as our verification, TerraPay Verify. It is today available in 63 countries, and I would call it one of the biggest network for verification of payee services in the world now. So if you look at emerging markets in general, wallets, for example, and TerraPay was built for wallets, right? And we see there will be more wallets in the world as compared to bank accounts by 2032. That was the global study which says, which means there will be more people consumers who will have mobile wallets as compared to bank accounts. It also goes back to, it's not just consumers, it could be also merchants and SMEs and small merchants who build, who strive on having a wallet, and the wallet gives you different functionalities of instant money movement, settlement happens instantly, all that put together. So the idea is using the TerraPay infrastructure itself, not just use it for a person-to-person money movement for wallets, but also use the same infrastructure for merchant payments. Think about, for example, a consumer who has a wallet in a domestic environment and pays through a QR code or through an NFC. When that consumer goes globally, they should be able to use their domestic wallet itself. Yeah. That infrastructure, that global interoperability network is what we think is going to drive the next phase of global commerce. And as TerraPay, we are on the forefront of that by enabling wallet interoperability at a global stage. So a consumer from China coming to Africa should be able to use the Chinese wallet, or a consumer in Africa, when they come to the US, for example, next year for the World Cup, should be able to use their domestic wallet. That is what TerraPay is building, and that's for that merchant interoperability becomes on the forefront of what we want to do. I would call it that's our DNA. We started a company for interoperability. In fact, before it's an interesting one. Before we started the name as TerraPay, internally used to call it IOX, Interoperable Exchange. So interoperability is built, on how we started the company itself. We believe interoperability for payments is going to be the next big thing in the world, where bank accounts, the card network, and wallets, how can they come together for interoperability for payments is what TerraPay is building. That is where we see ourselves. What Swift is doing for account to account, what the schemes are doing for card to card. What we are trying to do is not just put the wallets together and bring wallet to wallet, but also sit in the middle to kind of see wallet to bank account to wallet, card to wallet. In all that combination is where TerraPay and TerraPay's vision is all about for interoperability. It's in our DNA.